Hey everybody, and welcome to Oh My Word with Katie, the show where we share stories of real life Christianity, the good, the bad, and the Oh My Word from believers who've been there. I'm your host, Katie Ginn, and I think these stories will leave y'all with some hope, some humor, and some practical life hacks. Today, I'm so excited to get to interview Emma LeRoy. In my day job for Mississippi Christian Living magazine, we do a scholarship program, Christian Leaders of the Future, and Emma was our female winner this year for 2025. So, Emma, congratulations again, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited.
And we're going to talk about college and all the fun things. But first, you have an Oh My Word story about kind of how you got to where you are today geographically and how the Lord worked through that.
Yes, I do. So, back when I was 13 until I was about 16, we lived in South Carolina. And, in the midst of it, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was not the best experience for our family. There were a few financial struggles and, just awkward teenage moments. It was a great place, but it just wasn't the best for our family. But that's all I ever knew. So I didn't know that there was something better. And school had just ended for the summer when this was happening. My brother had just graduated high school and he was going off to college. But right when the summer started, me and my grandparents and my cousins, we went away to the beach while my parents secretly came here to Mississippi to interview at a church. So that was interesting. And although they didn't tell us, and I didn't know at the time, I feel like I felt God telling me that we were going to move. And I felt Him start preparing my heart for that. Um, and then about a week later, that's when my parents told me that we were moving. And I won't say that it was easy. It was a little difficult leaving my friends behind. And, I was still at that awkward phase in my life where it was hard to make friends and connect with people. And I usually had my brother as a built in friend in places, but he was going off to college. So it was just going to be me and my parents. And to make it a little more difficult, the church that we were moving to at the time, it had a pretty small youth group. It was like 2 to 5 people, but it's still a really great church. And I had a prayer journal at the time while we were moving, just to write down some things that I was hoping for in Mississippi, because I knew that if God was moving us here, He had some great things in store. So I wrote down that the biggest thing was just close friends and relationships at church and at school. And then I just wrote down some silly things like I wanted a gym membership. I wanted a job that fits well with my lifestyle. I just wanted the church to grow, and I wrote down a few more things. But over the over the next few months, we packed up, and then the day that we dropped my brother off at college, we drove down to Mississippi, and the next day was our first Sunday at the new church. When the chaos of the move, because so much was going on, I lost the prayer journal. About a year went by, and there were highs and lows. There were moments, but all in all, we were growing through it. And long story short, I was looking through books in my room, and then I found the prayer journal just somewhere in the pile of books. And I had forgotten what was written in those pages. My mind was blown because every single prayer and every single fear that I had written down, like God had answered and been faithful in all those prayers, even the silly ones, which I thought was cool. Like the youth group was still slightly small, but we had such a close knit community and bond with each other that I wouldn't have traded that group for the world. And I had met a lot of friends at school that I'm still friends with today and have been really great influences in my life. The gym membership, my parents bought me for my 16th birthday, and I still attend that gym, and I'm friends with a lot of the workers and gym goers there. And as for a job, I got a job a few months after I moved that's literally right next to the gym. I could just, walk from the gym to work, which was really a blessing. And it's closed on Sundays and stuff. So that's cool. And as for the church growing, at the time that I found the prayer journal, it hadn't grown that much. But then as I was looking back while like reading these questions and stuff and thinking over the past 3 years, it has grown tremendously. The youth group that used to be 5 people is now like 25 on a normal night. And not only is there like a lot more people, they're more faith filled. They don't just come on Sundays and Wednesdays to check off an item on their list of things to do. They come to worship and raise their hands and pray for each other, and people volunteer and preach, and those are things that the church probably never would have done a few years ago. And it's just crazy to see how God has been able to move. And in the day to day, you can't see it, but remembering what you've been through, you can see how God's been faithful and how he has moved in the past. And you can know that he'll continue to move in the future.
That's awesome. That's so great. So you said your dad works at is it your mom or your dad?
My dad, but my mom does a lot of things as the pastor's wife. She pretty much has a full-time gig there, even if it's not paid.
Okay, so obviously growing up in a Christian home, your father's a pastor. Who told you
Mhm.
about Jesus? How did you come to know the Lord?
My parents definitely were the most impactful to me. They made sure that I never even had a moment in my life where I don't remember the name of Jesus. They brought me to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. They made sure that I memorized Bible verses when I was growing up, but they didn't just make sure that I knew who Jesus was. They showed me who he was through everything that they did. Their first response to any problem was prayer. They loved me and didn't ask for anything in return. And they continually sacrificed their own time and their own wants and needs and stuff when I do not deserve it. And so, through their example, even from a young age, I learned who God was and who Jesus was. So, I'm very grateful for them.
So I know you moved in the middle of your high school experience, so that may impact your answer to this next question. But what, if you look back over your high school experience as a whole, do you see
Mhm.
it as, man, that was awesome. I love that. Or do you see it as, oh, that was tough, but the Lord got me through it.
Yeah, I would say there's been a lot of high and low moments, but I feel like if I hadn't gone through everything that I did go through, and learned the lessons that I did, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so looking back, God's made me glad for all the experiences freshman year to senior year that I went through. Like freshman year, I remember as, oh, trying to figure out what in the world is high school. And I tried to join girls lacrosse to like get involved with something, but that was not a good experience. And some of the people were a little mean, and I was just really, really bad at the sport anyway. So that kind of turned me off to joining any other team in high school. Sophomore year, that's when I moved, and I was still in my awkward phase. So instead of trying to make friends, I just immersed myself in my job and in the gym. So I was financially and physically healthy, but mentally and socially and stuff, not so much. And then junior year, that's when I took a lot of really hard classes, and it was the hardest year academically. But because I pushed myself to take those hard classes, I realized I was capable of doing well in them. And so that was kind of a turning point because it taught me that getting out of my comfort zone, whether academically or socially or spiritually and stuff. It led me to growth that I wouldn't have found otherwise. And that's the year that I really started to come out of my shell and make friends. And I grew a lot in my relationship with God and others around me. And then senior year was just the best of all. I love senior year. I will always look back at senior year with love in my heart because that's when I realized this is it. This is the last year before I graduate. This is my last year in high school. And I didn't really have anything to show for it. I was a part of one club, and other than that, I was not involved at school at all. And I didn't have a legacy, and I didn't want that to be the case. And that's just when I decided that I didn't want to remember my senior year as only having two classes and working a lot to save up for college. I wanted to get involved and live every moment to the fullest while I had it. So I decided I'd join a lot of clubs. I joined Rho Kappa, a social studies honor society. I joined Mu Alpha Theta, a math honor society. I joined the National English Honor Society, which I actually became the president of, which was really fun. And then even though I had a really bad experience freshman year in a sport, I decided I didn't want that to control my future. I loved running and I joined track. And I ended up becoming a varsity team member, which was really fun. Even though I may have been one of the worst runners on the varsity team, I was still on the varsity team. So that's all that mattered. And I ended up graduating with all these stoles and all of these cords and medals and all these friends that I made in clubs. And I wouldn't have gotten any of that had I not pushed myself to attain it. And I wouldn't have pushed myself if I hadn't gone through what I did in high school. So I just think, all in all, what God was teaching me in my high school career was that I shouldn't waste any moment of my life. You don't know how long you'll have the friends that you have. You don't know how many more opportunities you'll have to make a difference. And so you should use the time and the opportunities that God gives you to shine his light. And it may take you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but discomfort leads to growth. And I think it is so, so worth it in the end.
Awesome. Now, you said did you really only have two classes senior year?
Yeah, I was only there from like 8:25 in the morning to 11:43, and it was wonderful. I had so much free time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
Yes.
I feel like I had another question that came out of what you just said and I forgot it. Shoot. Oh, no, all I was gonna say is props to you for joining the track team because oh my word, I hated track so much.
Yeah, it was definitely experience because a lot of people were on the track team that I had never met before in my life, and I wouldn't have hung out with them otherwise. So it was also a great opportunity to just meet new people that I hadn't been able to meet before.
And suffering together bonds you together. So.
Yes, yes, there's all that stuff. Trauma bonding is real.
All right. So you told me this off screen, but where are you going to college and where's it at and what are you scared about and excited about for college?
I'm going to a Christian college in Tennessee called Lee University. Um, it's kind of near Chattanooga. It's in a town called Cleveland, Tennessee. But my biggest fear right now would probably be I'm just really unsure about my future. I don't exactly know what my career path will be just yet. I'm going in as a music and worship major, but I'm just so afraid that I'm not going to be good enough or I'll just accidentally waste my time on a major that I won't end up liking. But I know that if I follow God, He's going to lead me where I need to go. What I'm excited about is that my brother is also attending Lee, and two of my cousins are going to Lee as well. And then my grandparents live in the town where Lee is. and so do some of my aunts and uncles and other cousins. So I'll already have a community there that I can lean on. I'm just grateful that I get to spend time with them too, and I won't be 6 hours away from them.
That is so cool. That's awesome that you will have a built-in community. Music major, I feel like you'll figure out pretty quickly whether you like it because music is an intense major. I
Yes.
mean, maybe it's different as a music and worship. I don't know, but
No, I've heard it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work, and it's kind of like math and it's kind of hard. So hopefully I'll have it figured out sooner or later.
so by the time this episode releases, you'll have almost finished your first semester at least.
Mhm.
So, what's the biggest thing you hope to get out of that first semester?
I would really like to figure out if I will be continuing as a music and worship major or not, and even like what I'd change my major to if I were to change it. But I also just really want to be able to find that community, not just my family, even though they live there. I want to be able to like have friends with my roommate and other people in clubs and classes. I want to have met some people and made some relationships.
So, are you already going to be taking classes in your major that first semester?
Yes, I will be taking, there's like a piano skills class that I need to take, and oral skills and music theory,
Oh,
which is like math, I've heard. So wish me luck.
yeah. Maybe don't judge your love for the major on the music theory class.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's not fun, but we'll figure it out.
So, you got a roommate lined up?
I do. One of my brother's best friends has a sister who's going to leave and going to be a freshman at the same time as me, and she actually lives in Greece right now. So she will be moving down here. So that's really exciting.
Fun. Are they
Yeah,
from Greece or how is she over there?
they're missionaries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, very cool. So, for other rising college freshmen or maybe high school seniors, people around that same age who are trying to figure out their next steps, what would be your number one piece of advice?
This kind of goes with something that I said earlier. It's that we do not have to have it all figured out. There are some students who, it feels like they've known what they want to do since preschool, and that's so great and awesome. But there's also people like me who have no idea what the next 2 years are going to look like. And I just want to encourage people who feel like that. I know a lot of college students, even now that I've met, who've changed their major like 5 times. So that's a normal thing. We don't have to have it figured out. That's just proof. But also, from like a spiritual perspective, if you're following God and seeking Jesus in everything that you do, He's not just going to leave you in the dust. Sometimes I think maybe the reason He hasn't shown you exactly what the future looks like just yet is because maybe you wouldn't be able to accept it just yet. And He's preparing your heart for that, or transforming your mind so that you would be okay with that. And although you may not know exactly what the future holds just yet, I know that it will include serving others and sharing God's love wherever we go. And that's the most important thing. No matter the major or no matter the career, you just need to remember and believe that God does have a beautiful plan for your life. And when you're sticking close to Him, He'll show you the right path and the right time.
I love that. I saw a Facebook post actually earlier today where a guy said, I've never asked my kids what they want to be when they grow up. I ask them who they want to be. So
That's beautiful.
it's just so much more important, like, what kind of person do you want to be? Because that can apply to whatever you do. All right, so this answer may change a lot over the next 4 years and beyond.
Mhm.
But, we're all called to love God, love people, tell people about Jesus. How do you right now think that you specifically are called to do that?
I think that's a really good question. And like I said, I don't know what career path I have and I'm going to do just yet. So I can't really relate my calling to that. But I did see a video once, and I can't remember who it was, but it really changed my perspective on what a calling is. It was a singer sharing with a fan. Um, the fan had asked him, like, how did you know that your calling was to be a singer and a worship leader? And the singer guy was just like, it's not. And obviously, this confused the fan. Like, of course, it's your calling. You're a singer. That's what you're doing. But the singer guy explained, like, if I think that my calling is to be a singer, and then I get in a car accident and I break my vocal cords, I can't speak anymore, I can't sing, have I ruined God's calling for my life? And obviously, the answer is no. No, because our calling is not just one thing. I believe that mine and everyone else's calling is just to give glory to God in whatever we do. So, in the future, if I happen to be a worship leader or a Starbucks barista, or even now when I'm serving people at work, or I'm working out at the gym, or I'm singing on stage or watching TV at home, I just want to do it all unto God. And sometimes that looks like dressing more modestly in the gym, or reading the Bible between workout sets, which I do, or giving up a TV show because I was getting too addicted to it and it was affecting my time with God. I just want it to be so that in everything that I do, if someone were to see me, what I'm doing would point them towards Jesus. And like how I tell other people about Jesus through my words, I like to first develop a relationship with the person, and I want to have a foundation of trust. That way, when I tell a person about Jesus, they don't just think I'm preaching to them as a third party that's not interested. I'm telling them because I care for them and I love them and I want them to know that God loves them.
That's an important lesson to learn at such a young age because it has taken me probably twice as long as you to learn that and be like, okay, I guess I'll take the time to invest in this as an actual friendship instead of just sending them a text a million miles long that shares the
Yeah,
gospel, you know. And like, don't get me wrong, sometimes we do need to send the text because
for
God's
sure.
calling you to do that and He's going to use that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I do think the way we see Jesus model it is through relationship.
absolutely. It's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to go into our lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about Jesus and why?
I think my favorite thing about Jesus is just that I know how much I messed up and I know how much I fall short, and just how many times I ruin like these promises that I've made, or just all the times that I've sinned and all the times I run away from God. And yet the lowest version of myself, that's the version that Jesus loved, and that's the version that Jesus died for. It's not the perfect version of myself that he died for, it's the lowest of low. He loved me even then. And so I just think it's cool that no matter how many times I run away or mess up, he's just waiting there for me lovingly with open arms, and that's really beautiful to me.
Awesome. What brings you joy?
I really, really love spending time with my family and friends. And I love music, listening to music, singing music. I love thrifting and I love K dramas.
Oh, that's great. That is so great. Actually, the friend, like the friend that I'm thinking of now that I most closely associate with Korean dramas was also a musician. So there
Wow!
you
That's
go.
I love it.
All right. And finally, do you have a favorite scripture or life verse that you'd like to leave us with today?
This is one of my favorite scriptures, and it goes along with a lot of what I've said today. It's Colossians 3, verse 23 and 24. And it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It's the Lord Christ that you are serving. And so this goes back to what I was saying about my calling. It's that in everything that we do, we should work wholeheartedly and to do every job and task to the best of our ability because one, we're serving God and you want to give him your best. And number two, God sees that hard work and he blesses it. So, like, practically applicable ways to see this, it's like when I'm at work, I try not to be on my phone in like a slow moment. I try to find something to clean. Or if I've told someone that I'm going to help them out with something, I show up and do it. Or I steward the gift of the body that God has given me through trying to eat healthy and work out 5 days a week ish. Things like that, just work hard with the gifts God has given you, and whether that be a job or your body or your time, and just give glory and thanks to Him in all of it.
Emma, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was so much fun getting to chat with you a little more.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
And y'all, if you enjoyed this episode of Oh My Word with Katie, please share it with your friends, download it, send a link on Facebook via email, any which way you choose. Get the word out. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please give us both a rating and a review, because the more of those we get, the more people we can reach with the joy that's found only in Jesus. I'll talk to y'all soon. Hey y'all, it's Katie. If you enjoyed this podcast, you will love what we're doing at Mississippi Christian Living Magazine, which is all about pointing people to Christ and making their lives better. You can pick up free copies of MCL at more than 300 locations throughout the Jackson metro area. You can also visit mschristianliving.com or follow us on Facebook at MS Christian Living or on Instagram at MS Christian Mag. Thanks for listening to Oh My Word with Katie, and I hope you'll enjoy Mississippi Christian Living.